Hello viewers, hope you all are doing good. Welcome to this video. I am Nawaz and this is Thelinuxguy, the Linuxguy channel. Alright, so in this video, let's see what is pipeline and how to use pipeline in AWS. So this is my first video on pipeline, so I'm going to keep it very simple so you guys can understand what's going on. So what is a pipeline? Basically in DevOps we use pipeline as a continuous delivery tool, and what I mean by that is we can automate the deployment process of our application. So you will understand that when I will show you the demo, so stick along till the end of this video. Okay, so in pipeline we have stages and there should be at least 2 stages present. So as this is a simple demonstration, I'm going to be showing you a 2-stage pipeline, and there can be multiple stages based on the requirement of the application. And the source stage, which is here, is common in all the pipelines. So source stage will be the first stage of all the pipeline irrespective of their stages. Okay, so what is source? Basically source is the source of our application code. In this case, that's the CodeCommit repository where we will store our source code of the application. And then there is the deploy stage where we will be using the CodeDeploy. And let me give you an overview of what's going to happen in this pipeline. So basically, we will configure the source, we will create the repository, upload our application code here, and then we will launch the EC2 instance with an instance role. So we will configure the instance role and we will assign that instance role to the EC2 instance, and we will install the CodeDeploy agent on that instance. Then we will go to CodeDeploy. We will create the application, a service role which is important for CodeDeploy. We will configure the service role, assign that service role to the deployment group. So basically deployment group is required to target the instances. In this case there is only one instance, so I'm going to target that instance in our deployment group. And the last but not the least, we will configure the pipeline, and in there we will configure the service role for that pipeline and use the pipeline to automate the deployment process. So let's go ahead and see. So I'm going to be referring the documentation of AWS for CodePipeline. So if you go to Google and search for CodePipeline tutorial, this one, so we can create multiple pipelines. As you can see, create a simple pipeline using S3 bucket. So we can use S3 bucket and all that. So I'm going to be using CodeCommit repository for this demo. So click here. So I'm going to be referring this documentation. So I will give the link in the description for your reference. So you can go ahead and follow along with this documentation. Alright, so I'm going to close this, or let me move this to my second workspace, and I'm going to move it on the side here. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the CodeCommit repository. So I'm going to go here, CodeCommit. Okay, so the first step is to create the CodeCommit repository. So I have created a tutorial on how to create your first CodeCommit repository. You can go ahead and refer that. So basically we can check out our repository in 2 ways. We can use HTTPS and SSH. For HTTPS we have to generate Git credentials and use that credentials, and for SSH we have to upload our public key to the AWS. So I'm going to be using SSH for this purpose. So click create repository. I'm going to be naming it as my demo repo. Create. Okay, so that's done. Let's go back to our repositories, and I will copy my SSH URL, and I'm going to open a terminal here, not here, here. Okay, so let's go to play. Okay, so git clone my repository. So that's done. There is our repository. Let's go there. That's empty. Okay, that's done. Step 2, add sample code to your repository. So this is the sample application they have provided. So I'm just gonna copy that link address, and I'm gonna go back one directory, and I'm gonna use wget to download the zip file. So that's here. Let's go back to our repository and I'm gonna unzip that here. Okay, that's done. So that's the application. So it has appsec.yaml, index.html. Let me maximize the screen. So we have appsec.yaml. So basically this is a YAML file, and we have HTML file and some scripts. So let's take a look at HTML file. So I'm gonna do vi to that file, and it's just a simple HTML file which just says, congratulations, this application was deployed using AWS CodeDeploy. Okay, so that's that. Let's take a look at appsec.yaml. That's the important one. So I'm gonna do vi to that. Okay, so this is basically the YAML syntax. If you are familiar with it, you can understand this. So here we are using the file module, and we are copying this HTML file to the var.html inside our EC2 instance, and we have some hooks here. So before install and application stop, so that's the hook. We also have many hooks like before install, so we have after install, before startup, after startup, and all that. So that's that. So what is this hook? It's saying that location, so install, use this script. The timeout is 5 minutes and run this script as a root user. And the same for start server, timeout is 300 seconds and run as root, and for stop server. So let's go ahead and take a look at the scripts. cd to scripts folder. So here we have the scripts. So let's take a look at each one. So this is just a simple script installing the Apache server. It's starting the HTTPD service, which is the server, and the stop server. Let's take a look at that one. So this one, it's saying if the HTTP program exists, and if it exists, then stop the service. So that's that. Okay, so that's looking good. So let me do git add and git commit. Added the sample or added the application code and git log. So that's the commit ID 8D60. Okay, that's looking good. Let's go ahead and see the next step. So the step 3 is to create an EC2 instance and install the CodeDeploy agent. So let's do that. I'm gonna close my terminal and let's go to EC2. But we have to also create an instance role for EC2. So we have to first configure the instance role. So I'm gonna open my IAM for that. So services and IAM. Let's open that in a new tab. In IAM, select roles. Let me maximize this so you guys can see, and I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Okay, so roles, create role, and here select the EC2 one, and next permission, and here select code deploy. So search for code deploy here, it's gonna pop up here. It's code deploy, if I could spell it. Okay, so this one, select this, next, no tag required here, next, role name, my instance role. So that's the role name. Description looking good. Create role. So that's our instance role. Let's go to EC2 instance and launch that instance with that role. So launch instance. Here I'm going to select this AMI. The instance type is T2 micro, which is free tier. And in here we have to select the IAM role which we have created. So click here and you will see the my instance role. Select that, and under advanced details where we place our bootstrap script, I'm going to be using this script which is present here. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it here. So basically this script is installing the CodeDeploy agent for us. So it's installing the Ruby package and installing the AWS CLI. And inside the home directory of EC2 user, it's downloading the script from this URL, and it's installing the script. So that's that. Okay, next add storage, add tags, and here I have to give a specific tag. So this is the place where we have to give a perfect tag, because using this tag we will be targeting this instance in our deployment group. So let's give it a meaningful tag. So I'm going to give it name as my CodePipeline instance. I'm going to give that tag here. Okay, next security group. So we have to configure the security group. I'm going to use SSH for port 22, and I'm going to select my IP. And also, because this is a web application, I'm going to use port 80, and because this is for testing purpose, I'm going to select my IP, review and launch, So I have created a key pair, so there's also option to create a new key pair here. You can do that. So I'm going to select this key pair, and I acknowledge and launch instance. So there we have our instance, which is currently being provisioned or being deployed. So it's going to install the code deploy agent using the bootstrap script and with the instance role which we have configured. So here you say the code pipeline, the tag. So that's going to take some time. Let's go to our next step. So I'm going to minimize it here. Okay. Step 4 is to create an application in CodeDeploy. So let's go and do that. So I'm going to go to my CodeDeploy. Let's open that in new tab as well. Okay, that's looking good. So in deploy, go to applications, create an application, give it an application name. So I'm going to give as my demo application, and compute platform, select EC2 on premises, create application. So that's done. So the next thing we have to do is create the deployment group. So for that we have to first create a service role for this. So let's go back to IAM, and here click on roles. So here click on create role, and I'm going to maximize this, and here go down to CodeDeploy, select that, and there are multiple options here using ECS or Lambda, but we are using a simple code pipeline, so I'm just going to use this CodeDeploy. Next, and there is only one policy present here, so that's nice. Next, add tags, tag not required here. So next, review, role name, I'm going to give it as my demo, or let's say my code deploy role, and that's looking good. So create role. So this is our code deploy role. Let's go back to our code deploy, create deployment group. Let's see if our instance is deployed. So that's still initializing, that's not a problem. Okay, so it has automatically populated the application field here. Let's give it a deployment group name. I'm going to say my demo code deployment group. That's that. Service role. So this is why we have to configure or create a service role, because we have to select one. So if you click here, you will see my code deploy role which we just created. So that's done, and then there is deployment type. So deployment type is basically how we choose to deploy our application. So in that we have two types, in place and blue green. So when you select the in place deployment type, what's going to happen is it's going to completely uninstall your application. It's going to stop the service, then it's going to upload your application, the newer application revision, and then it's going to start the service. So there will be a slight downtime when you select the in place deployment type. And the blue green one, so when you select the blue green one, what's going to happen is, let's say for example there is one instance running your application, and after that you deployed a newer version of your application, which is version 2.0 for example. So your newer version, which is version 2.0, will be installed in a different instance, and your older instance will be saved. It won't be terminated, so that's going to be there. And after completely deploying your newer version in a newer instance, it's going to take down your older instance, which has the old version of your application. So that's deployment type. So as this is a sample demonstration, I'm going to just select the in place one. So that's nice for this demo. Environment configuration, I'm going to select Amazon EC2 instance. So this is the place where we target our instance. So we have given a key value or a tag for our instance, so we have to use that here. So I'm going to click here and it's going to show me the name. Value is CodePipeline instance. I'm going to select that, and as you see, matching instances, one unique match instance. So that's how we target our instance in deployment group. Okay, load balancer, there is no load balancer in this demo. Advanced, so we can create triggers, alarms and rollbacks. So that's done. Let's create a deployment group. Okay, that's looking good. So that's done. Let's go back to our documentation and let's see what's the next step. So create your first pipeline in CodePipeline. So we have to create a pipeline. So I will go to my pipeline. Here, pipelines. So let's create a pipeline. So create pipeline name. I'm going to just give it as my demo application pipeline, and we are going to create a new service role, or you can also choose an existing service role. So let's create a new service role. So that's the name of the service role. Allow CodePipeline to create service role. Yes, we have to allow that. Under advanced settings, so artifact store, so it's going to create an S3 bucket and it's going to store all your artifacts inside that S3 bucket, and also the encryption key. That's looking good. So next we have to configure the source. So our source is CodeCommit. You can also use GitHub or Bitbucket or S3, but we are using CodeCommit, so I'm going to select that. Okay, choose a repository. So this is my repository. Branch is master. So it's not showing the branch name. So what's the problem? Let me go to my terminal. I have pushed my code to the CodeCommit repository. So let me go to my play directory inside my demo repo. Okay, git status. Alright, so we have not pushed our changes to the CodeCommit repository, so I'm going to do that. Git push. Okay, so that's gone. That's looking good. Let's go back to my here. Let me go into my pipelines again. Let's create a pipeline. Pipeline name, my demo application pipeline. Pipeline is not the case. Pipeline, new service role, advanced settings. That's the default or custom location. So that's the bucket which we have created. Source provider is CodeCommit. Repository name is my demo repo. Branch name, so here we have our master branch, so we have to push our code. I forgot that. Anyways, so change detection option. So here we have two options, AWS CodePipeline and Amazon CloudWatch events. So you can configure a new pipeline which will check periodically for any changes in your repository, and if that, it will trigger an event which will in turn trigger the pipeline. But anyways, I'm going to select this one, Amazon CloudWatch event. So what's going to happen is it's going to trigger a CloudWatch event to automatically start my pipeline. So when it detects that any changes is occurring on my repository, it's going to trigger an event which in turn trigger the pipeline to deploy the code. Okay, next, build provider. So this is the two-stage pipeline. I'm not going to select this. I'm just going to skip build stage. There are two build stage. I'm just going to show you that. So code build and Jenkins. We will see Jenkins in my future videos. So skip build stage, skip. Okay, that's gone. Deploy provider, I'm going to select CodeDeploy. Okay, that's the region. Application name, this is the application. Deployment group, my demo code deployment group, this one. Next, let's review what we have done. So this is my pipeline name, artifacts location inside my S3 bucket. name of the service role, that's the source, and that's deploy. That's looking good. Let's create the pipeline. So as soon as I click here create pipeline, it's gonna deploy my code. So you will see that in a minute. And that's done. So as you see here, the source is being read, so that's in progress. So that's done, the source is done, and the deploy, it's going on, it's in progress. Here you can see that we have our git ID or commit ID. So let's wait a few more minutes, maybe 30 seconds. Okay, so the deploy is done. Let me go back to my instance, and I'm gonna copy my public DNS of the EC2 instance. Let's paste it here, enter. Boom, we have our application. Congratulations, this application was deployed using AWS CodeDeploy. Alright, so that's looking good. So let me move it side here. So that's working fine. Okay, so let me verify if my pipeline is working fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open my terminal. Let me open it here, not here, here. Okay, let's go to my play directory and my repository, and here let's go to my index.html file, and I'm just gonna delete all this. And here I have seen code somewhere. Okay, yeah, this one, I'm just gonna copy that, copy, and I'm gonna just paste it here. Okay, that's looking good. So let me make this full screen so you guys can see. So git status, there is one modified file, index.html. So let's quickly git add and commit it with a message, updated the application code. That's looking good. So let me do git push. So when I press enter, it's gonna push my changes back to the repository. And what's gonna happen is, let me minimize this. I'm gonna close this, and as soon as I have pressed enter after git push, it's gonna trigger a CloudWatch event, and which in turn it will trigger my pipeline. So you will see here in a moment that the deploy will be starting. So let's wait for that. There you go. Okay, so the source has already finished. Here you will see that the commit ID for that revision, the deploy stage is started. That's in progress. That's looking good. Let me maximize this. Okay, so that's done. So let me go back to my EC2 instance here. I'm gonna refresh this. So here we have it. So we haven't done anything, it's just automated the deployment process. So that's how you create a pipeline. So this was just a simple demonstration of pipeline. In my next or future videos, I will be showing you more pipeline videos using S3 and all that. So that's it for this video, guys. So let me show you how to clean up all our resources. So there is a sequence of doing that. So I'm just gonna go here to my pipelines. First, we have to delete the pipeline. So click here, okay, delete pipeline, and type delete to confirm. Okay, that's gone. Click here, go to deploy, click on applications. So if I select this, here you will see no option to delete the application. So go inside the application, and here delete application, type delete to confirm. Okay, that's gone. Also go to instances, action, select the instance in action, instance state, terminate. Yes, terminate. So we have to do everything backward, just as we did. So that's gonna be gone. So I will go to my S3 bucket also. Search for, okay, here it is. I'm gonna open that in new tab. So there's this bucket, so I'm going to select that. Okay, delete, and we have to type the name of the bucket, so I'm just going to copy it from here. confirm. Okay, that's gone, so I will close this. The instance is shutting down, so let's go back to code deploy. Also, we have to delete the repository, so I'm going to go to my source repositories. Select your repository and then delete repository. Type delete to confirm. Delete. So that's gone. Also, we have to delete the roles which we have created. So this one and this one, these are the roles we created. Okay, delete. So that's looking good. There's also this role for pipeline, so I'm going to delete that one as well. And also here for that one, delete role. Yes, delete. So these are the default roles for AWS. Also under policies, filter policies and select the customer managed. And here delete this policy, delete. Okay, that's gone. And we have another policy. I'm going to select that and delete. Okay, that's gone as well. Let's go back to roles. Okay, that's gone. Let's go back here. Repositories, that's gone. Application, that's gone. And pipelines, that's gone. Instance, that's terminated. IAM, okay. S3 bucket is deleted. Okay, so I have cleaned up all of my resources. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys find this video useful. If you did, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for your precious time. Take care. Bye bye.